story of William Wilberforce and the Clapham Sect, the UK, 250 years ago. A group of, really it was politicians and businessmen and women getting together. It was a dense network of its own.
And there was a group that was full of amazing people on mission together. They actually lived together in a community called Clapham, which is why they were called the Clapham Sect. But for multiple decades, they were on mission for the abolition of slavery and the reformation of morals.
And they were the ones that were ultimately, through all these trials and errors and pushing, they passed the Abolition of the Slave Trade Act in 1803, which ultimately led to the abolition of slavery in 1830.
Basically, the modern nonprofit was birthed from their group.
I thought that anti-human trafficking was like Navy SEAL just going undercover like the movies, saving the kids in cages from the evil, perverted, tattoo, bearded, smelly cartel mafia lord. It's not that at all. It's everywhere. It's within 2 blocks of this building, multiple times. Somebody watching it, somebody trading it like baseball cards on the deep web. Somebody doing these heinous acts, somebody exploiting a child. It's pervasive.
That's all money motivated, and it's growing at an exponential pace, or has been over the last several decades. It's now Verafin, which is part of the NASDAQ family of companies, estimated that it's $347 billion per year, about 50 million people stuck in that, and growing by 25,000 people every day. Just a rapidly growing problem that needs a community to come around and really implement scalable solutions.
So we want to learn from the past and what our ancestors did. And so we call it Clapham for that reason.
When we really understand the scale of what is happening around the world, that nearly 50 million people are being trafficked, that this is growing every single day, when we understand that, yes, human trafficking is in definition force, fraud, or coercion, but when we understand all of the different types, that there's sex trafficking, labor trafficking, forced marriages, organ harvesting, and even ritualistic killings, that of those trapped in human trafficking, 27% of them are children and 28% have some sort of intellectual disability. This is so many people that are preying on vulnerable lives, on image bearers of our Creator. And for too long, we have looked away. For too long, we have thought this is just happening in a third world country. For too long, we have thought, well, it's somebody else's problem. It's somebody else's issue. No, it's ours. It's mine. It's yours.
So this is a group of high-performing tech entrepreneurs, lobbyists, lawyers, innovators, nonprofits who really want to come together inside of a dense network and solve this massive problem, but it's a 1,000-headed problem. So we need to be fighting on all different kind of fronts.
In 2018, I was up in Seattle. I met a team from Microsoft and another couple agencies that were working on a software that would ultimately identify exploited and trafficked people, and then it would allow us to reach those people through SMS. And I thought it was just the most brilliant thing ever. And so 2019, we launched that in March, and we saw astronomical growth in being able to reach exploited and trafficked people and to be able to help them and serve them. Where victims are at, in what zip code, what gender, what ethnicity, and then we can craft campaigns to provide and send them hope.
Our background is in running technology companies, and we'd sort of done okay. We exist to prevent children from being harmed. Parental controls to this day remains a piece of the jigsaw, but it's only a tiny piece to the tech that you really need to develop and deploy on a mass market basis globally to keep children safe.
We tend to think of it as, even if it's in my city, that it's in a different part of the city. And the maps just don't tell us that that's true. I remember thinking that our map was broken when I saw Dallas-Fort Worth, because in general, the poverty and the And the herding in our city has gravitated towards the southern part of Dallas. And it was all gravitated towards basically where the money was in our city. And at first I thought it was broken because I assumed the exploitation was far away. I assumed it was on the other side of the tracks, but it wasn't. It was actually close to home.
We had a huge network of tech experts already in this space that were fragmented. And we brought together our first couple dozen people and said, how do we collaborate and how do we build scalable models that can really attack entire lanes of the trafficking world? And so when this issue came up, for me, it was all about how do we find out the incentive structures? How do we find out problems that we can solve at scale that are self-sustaining models instead of trying to fundraise for everything and get donations for everything? How could we create an industry around these things? It's much like cybersecurity. So in cybersecurity, you actually win financially is you stop scamming and fraud and security breaches. So if you can build an industry around this, and it can actually protect in mass. And so that's why we're building out this game.
I think the organizations and people that are a good fit for Clapham aren't in it for the money, are completely showing up for the mission, and are willing to just bring their 2 loaves and 2 fish, really bringing something to the fight, but not coming because they heard that we could make them better, coming because they want to join on a mission and just shift gears off themselves and say, this mission is worth fighting for.
Being a partner with them in the Eagle Freedom Fund, their unwavering passion and commitment going after helping some of the most vulnerable people, the real MVPs around the globe. And to do it in a place where no one had ever come before them to say, we're gonna tackle this as an economic problem, not just as a human rights problem or a government problem.
And they think of it as this really far away thing, like it's far away, it's not in my world. But then when they come and actually see maps, like our partners at Freedom Signal showed a map of my city in Dallas-Fort Worth, and they identified 103,000 people that were placed sex for sale over the last 12 months. We don't think at all of this as something that's in our zip code. And if you look at the dot plots across every city, it's every zip code. In some cases, it seems like it's every few blocks. It's highly local. And often it's coming out of our foster care systems, out of our homeless population. It's the most vulnerable among us that are exploited for money.
I was meeting with a pastor, and he didn't believe this existed in his neighborhood, showing him how many potential victims were within a 2-mile radius of his church. I was also showing him all the strip clubs that were within a 2-mile radius of his church and the IMBs that I could research. And I just put that on a paper and I said, this is what it looks like. This is also the solution that we've come up with, that we have proven works in Louisville and all these other places. We want to partner with you and your church because your church could be central to providing hope. And he was like, you go back, research this again. I was like, okay, I will. I did. And I immediately, the next day, within 24 hours, he goes, I have a $25,000 check coming to you tomorrow. If you do not know what you're fighting or what you're up against, how are you ever going to actually be equipped to fight it? Whether that's with provision or resources or a team. You know, if I just walked into a strip club for the first time by myself, I probably wouldn't be here today. Instead, I walked into a place, into the darkness, with a team of people.
As we've met entrepreneur after entrepreneur that have massively scalable solutions, whether it was Dark Watch that had said, I can find every one of these brothels and we can show the world how to debank them and how to shut them down, or whether it was Evidensity that said, I can find all these labor trafficking victims and we can map them up to those supply chains, and you see their vision. And we said, yes, absolutely. These are massively scalable visions.
So when you have a high level of trust and a high level of collaboration with people that are visionaries and problem solvers, and they focus on execution and getting things done, then so much more happens so much faster.
In many cases, what we're finding is somebody's been working on what God's had in their hands for 10, 20 years, and somebody else has been working on another piece for 10 or 20 years. Then they meet each other and say, wait a second, if we put these two pieces together, we might just absolutely fly.
When we come together, maybe that's in tech, maybe it's in rescues, maybe it's in legislation, maybe it's in counseling, maybe it's in connecting survivors with doctors, with nurses. Maybe it's in counseling. Maybe it's in creating awareness. You know, there's so many different areas that you can be involved in, but look at your resources, look at what God has gifted you, and how can you use that in the fight?
With governments is we're saying, come on, look, we've proven to you it's possible, mandate it now. It doesn't have to be our technology, we don't care about that. We've proven devices can be safe the moment they're switched on, so then why don't we mandate that? Every manufacturer, and we're not just talking about phones, we're talking about tablets, laptops, wearables, anything that's got smart technology within it should be safe by default.
We've reached over 850,000 people online so far. Many people have received a text message of hope. And 398,000 people have responded wanting some sort of help, service, or rescue. I really have come to the knowledge, if you will, that we have to be together collaborating in order to solve these problems. That the problems are far too great, far too vast, and complex for just any one entity or any one thing to solve it.
It's helpful to picture, do you think that in your city, it has to be a crime that is absolutely rampant, very high reward, and very low risk? That is the current state of basically every city in the United States. Most cities will be turning over more than $1 billion a year in buying and selling people with a very high reward and very low risk. That current status quo of buying and selling people under our noses, in our backyards, I believe that is breakable. These are businesses. We talk about this sense that they have revenue lines on one side and expense lines on the other, and that as you build those expense lines, pull down the revenue lines, that if you get those to turnover, you can break these businesses. We can't just legislate our way to success. We can't just raise nonprofit capital to get all the way there. And businesses can't do it on our own. But when all three start working together and playing their proper role, then you start to see things absolutely fly.